Coming in at number 10 today, we have Sarah Michelle Gellar. Back in 2014, Sarah Michelle Gellar definitely became Buffy the Kimye Slayer when she threw some serious shade at Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's first ever Vogue cover. Shortly after Anna Wintour approved April issue was revealed, Sarah would head over to her Twitter to say, well, guess I'm canceling my Vogue subscription. Who is with me? Well, many fans agreed with Sarah's tweet, including me. Kim Kardashian's best friend, Jonathan Schunab, would retweet Gellar's post and he would say, do you even matter? Buffy fanatics would then even start to argue that she very much does. After much of a debate, even Anna Wintour would come out to defend her controversial choice to place the reality TV star and the rapper on her issue cover in the editor's letter by saying, as for the cover, my opinion is that both are charming and touching, and it is, I should add, entirely our idea to do it. You may have read that Kanye begged me to put his fiancée on Vogue's cover. He did nothing of sort, but if you have to come out to claim something like this, it's most likely it was true. Coming in at number 9, we have Jonah Hill. In 2011, Jonah Hill would end up slamming the Kardashian family in an interview, but even after admitting he hated everything the family represents, he still can't stop watching the show. During the interview, Jonah would count himself among the ranks of those who are still keeping up with the Kardashians, but only with great reluctance. And he even was too duped by Kim's wedding, and he would even state that the show took money and attention from people in the television industry who actually worked to create compelling original programming. Also, in the interview, he would go on to note that the whole show was a giant joke, and then he went on to say, the truth is, I have friends who work in TV, and Kardashians get higher ratings than their TV shows. That people actually work hard on writing and creating, trying to tell their stories. The fact that Kardashians could be more popular than a show like Mad Men is disgusting. But that doesn't mean he doesn't watch, as he would then go on to say, I can't even understand it, so I watch it. I think it's funny and I definitely enjoy it in a making fun of sort of way. But where does the line sort of end? When do I stop making fun of it and become an actual fan? And the truth is, you never actually do. Even fans aren't fans. We just find the drama so fantasizing because what kind of family actually has so much drama going on in their lives 24/7? It's just not healthy. Coming at number 8, we have Lily Reinhart. Lily Reinhart spoke out against Kim after the Skims owner admitted to undergoing a restrictive diet to fit into a vintage Marilyn Monroe gown for the 2022 Met Gala after Kim boasted about her losing 16 pounds to fit into the iconic gown worn by Marilyn during the John F. Kennedy's birthday party. She was able to lose the weight in 3 weeks. Lily would then take to her Instagram story to call Kim out by saying, to walk a red carpet and do an interview saying how starving you are because you haven't eaten carbs in the last month, all to fit in an effing dress, so wrong, so effed on hundreds of levels. To openly admit to starving yourself for the sake of the Met Gala, when you know very well that millions of young men and women are looking up to you and listening to your every word. The ignorance is otherworldly and disgusting. Please stop supporting these stupid, harmful celebrities whose entire image revolves around their bodies. Lily then noted, I'm generally not an angry person, but I swear to God the toxicity of this industry sometimes really gets to me, and I have to head to my Instagram story to rant, to release my rage. Number 7, we have Jeffree Star. If anyone knows the tea in Hollywood, it's Jeffree Star. And when Jeffree and Shane Dawson were set to review Kylie's new skincare line, which they hated, Shane mentioned the infamous tweet by Jeffree Star where he dragged Khloe after she was cheated on by Tristan Thompson. Just to recap, when news broke of Kylie's ex-best friend, Jordan Woods, hooking up with Tristan Thompson, when the news first broke, Khloe was pregnant with her first child, True. Jeffree, pretty much being neighbors with the Kardashians, decided to input himself into the center of the drama by saying, learn to co-parent on a healthy level and stop acting like your man isn't trash either. He then went to Snapchat to say Tristan and Jordan had been seeing each other for over a month or two, and it wasn't just the first time. Jeffree noted that all of Hollywood talks and that he was given this information by hair and nail stylist. Jeffree's not afraid when it comes to inputting his knowledge on scandals in Hollywood, and you can always trust him to back up his information, especially when it comes to the Kardashian sisters. At number 6, we're bringing in Caitlyn Jenner. Khloe and Caitlyn used to have a good relationship, however the pair fell out following Kris and Caitlyn's divorce in 2015. This came just after Caitlyn transitioned in her interview about her marriage to Kris Jenner with Diane Sawyer in Vanity Fair. In the interview, Caitlyn revealed the star wasn't really supportive of her interview or her transition, which was a really heartbreaking time for her. While Kris was left feeling disappointed, Khloe stepped in to say that Caitlyn essentially did her mother dirty, and Caitlyn really had nerve when she said, "What happened to family sticking together?" Overall, both stars were left feeling heartbroken, as before the interview, the Good American co-founder and Olympian were notoriously close prior to Caitlyn's transition, especially since the star was really supportive in the beginning about the transition and told Caitlyn to do whatever makes her happy. But then didn't talk to Caitlyn for the next coming years. Caitlyn continues to have a challenging relationship with her stepdaughters, however it seems her and Khloe are finally back on good terms. As Khloe stated, she talks to Caitlyn once in a blue moon, but since they're both really busy with their schedules and the pandemic, the stars ultimately have no more beef between each other. Number 5. Jordyn Woods. When news broke about Tristan Thompson cheating on Khloe with her younger sister Kylie Jenner's best friend, the whole world came to a stop, and people were truly shocked. Thompson was spotted at a party, and witnesses at the party claimed the basketball player was making out with Woods. But the series of events followed proved the situation was more complicated than that. After news broke, all Kardashian family unfollowed Jordyn, and Kylie even asked her to move out of her guest house that Jordyn was living in at the time. The sisters all claimed they helped Jordyn to be successful on her own, and she would be nothing without them. And this scandal was an ultimate betrayal for them. Jordyn denied the allegations at first, and Khloe can be heard yelling "liar" on a snippet that showed on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Jordyn went on to Red Table Talk to clear up the rumors and said when she was leaving the party, Tristan kissed her and she left. Jordyn during this scandal was bullied by the Kardashian clan. On social media, they also got some of Jordyn's closest friends to chime in on the situation. While Khloe blaming the star for ruining her family and not sharing the blame with her baby daddy Tristan, Jordyn went on to be excommunicated by the Kardashian and Jenner family, and both have since moved on to bigger and better things. Number 4. Snooki. Snooki appeared on Cocktails with Khloe for an interview. Snooki had a lot to say about her appearance on the show and ultimately said Khloe was being downright mean when they were talking about how they first met. On the show, Snooki explained that Kim had asked her to come over to her house, and Snooki accepted because she was obsessed with Khloe Kardashian. Upon meeting the star looked her up and down and asked why she was there, and it made her feel out of place. When Nicole brought this up to the star on the show, Khloe acted like she had no idea what Snooki was talking about and tried to play it off. Snooki then went on to say she left the house and was really upset by the whole ordeal. While fans are quick to chime in saying Khloe doesn't look like a mean girl, many noted that Khloe didn't give us mean girl vibes, but Snooki proved us otherwise. The two have since cleared the air, and Khloe came out with an apology saying she was sorry for her behavior that night and said, "Maybe I was jealous you were getting more attention. I have no idea why I did what I did." Number 3. Scott Disick. Who could forget Scott and Khloe's bond? While many thought this bond would be never unbroken, that notion ultimately came to an end recently. Their friendship over the years has definitely had its fair shares of up and downs. With accusations and dramas, this friendship was fizzled out, and Scott had a lot to say about it. With Kourtney moving on with her new man Travis, Scott knew his ex was happy and that her love was a real thing. However, he didn't want her family to leave him out in the cold like they had been doing. Scott told Khloe that being left out was super hurtful, especially while he doesn't have any other family to go to. However, instead of Khloe being supportive, she was more worried about Scott seeing PDA exchange between Kourtney and Travis. Scott went on to say he would rather be around them than not around his family at all. Since Scott has been pushed out of the family, he has since been focusing on his kids, but spending as much time with them as possible. Hopefully Scott can repair his relationship with the stars and they can work out their differences, because seeing Scott struggle to be a part of the family is definitely heartbreaking and no one deserves to feel like that. Number 2. Amber Rose. In 2015, Amber Rose's feud with the Kardashian family hit its peak when Khloe Kardashian decided to defend her sisters and family. The star decided to give her input on the rapper Tyga's relationship with Khloe's younger sister Kylie Jenner. Rose went on to say Kylie is a baby and Tyga should be ashamed of himself. He had a beautiful woman and a baby, and he left them for a 16-year-old girl who just turned 17. Khloe decided to set the record straight and came to defend her sister by saying, "Don't worry about Kylie or her career, she is 17 and has it together." The star went on to say, "Please stop talking about my family in interviews." The nine of us don't talk about you. Simply not letting Khloe get the best of her, Rose decided to respond with lengthy tweets, Khloe with the hashtag Don't Panic, which is a song French Montana wrote. The feud between Rose and the Kardashians stems from her former relationship with Kanye West, and since Rose has never been scared to hit back at the stars with her own input of her own opinions. Number 1. Kim Kardashian. Say what you would like about the Kardashians, but it's clear Kris Jenner has done a glorious job, not only with their show's success, but the success of each of her children. The family likes to keep it real, and the feuds have always been the center of the show, especially when it comes down to Kourtney, Kim, and Khloe. But who can forget the infamous purse episode where Kim and Khloe found themselves in a really heated argument. While the Kardashians were rising to stardom, in this one episode the two stars found themselves in an argument after Kim purchased a new Bentley back in 2009. The altercation was captured during the second season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and since has become one of E!Series' most quotable and viral moments. While the sisters Khloe, Kourtney, and Rob were talking about Kim over dinner in Rob's apartment, Kim was outside and heard them discussing her and making fun of her for buying a new Bentley. Kim ultimately came in furious, and the ultimate purse fiasco came to light, and the star could be seen yelling at Khloe not to be rude. Families fight, that's no secret, but family also sticks together, and Khloe always knows to come to her family's side, and that's something we can all admire.
Number 10. Worst of the bunch. Of all the members of the clan, Kendall Jenner has been consistently brought up as simultaneously the most relatable and the meanest. She may take up the most points on this list all by her lonesome. As the first and probably most minor complaint against her, a TikTok video where a fan recalled meeting Kim Kardashian in New York City also happened to throw shade at Kendall at the same time. In the video, the TikToker praised Kim for being, quote, the most polite celebrity I've ever met. Talking about the celebrities that she has met, the TikToker said, quote, including Kendall, who I can't say the same about. It was interesting how when the conversation was about Kendall specifically, the TikToker made note that, quote, Kendall could learn a thing or two. The post made its way to Reddit, where other fans joined in on the conversation and their opinions on Kendall. One user wrote, Kendall has always just given me that reserved, wiry, shy but rude kind of vibe on the show. I wasn't sure if that was her in character. There was also one commenter that claimed to not know a single Keeping Up with the Kardashians fan who had a positive experience when meeting Kendall Jenner in real life. And here's an example of that very thing. Number 9. No tip for you. Back in 2014, a waitress accused Kendall Jenner of skipping out on a $60 bill and not leaving a tip. But wait, when the waitress allegedly chased after Kendall Jenner to get the money, Kendall turned around and threw cash in the woman's face and then laughed. It doesn't even sound like real life. The waitress then took to Twitter saying, quote, that horrible moment when you chase a Kardashian down the street because she forgot to pay her bill to be thrown money in your face. Kendall did respond to the rumors, but by calling them ridiculous, and she then had her lawyers whip up a cease and desist letter to the server. Nothing kinda says guilt like an instant cease and desist letter. I wouldn't know, I'm just thinking that's what it's like. 3 years later though, Kendall was also not a good customer at a bar in Brooklyn when a server posted a since deleted picture of a bill for just $24 that Kendall had signed but left the tip field blank. Now Kendall responded to this one as well, but by saying that she paid it in cash, but the bar accused her of lying. What are your thoughts on tipping? I know that it's one of the main benefits of waiting tables or bartending, so to skip out on that for me is pretty vile. Number 8. Sugar Factory. All those many years ago, back in 2016, Kendall's younger sister, Kylie Jenner, was at the opening of Sugar Factory in Orlando, Florida. For her arrival, Kylie had around 3,000 of her fans waiting for her, only for them to apparently be disappointed. The official press release from Sugar Factory themselves, of course, had almost entirely positive things to say surrounding the opening and Kylie's participation in it, but one publication, Star Magazine, seemed to see things a little differently. Coming from an insider source, the magazine got reports that Kylie's appearance at the opening was actually, quote, a huge disappointment, and that apparently she was rude to the majority of her fans. Star Magazine stated that apparently the youngest of the Kardashians/Jenners apparently showed up to the event an hour late, and if that weren't bad enough, she only stayed for about 5 minutes to take a few selfies and then just dipped on out of there, leaving fans dissatisfied and disappointed.
And at number 7, Barack Obama. Former President Barack Obama also couldn't hold his tongue when talking about the famous family. And it's definitely quite the compliment when the president is speaking about you. Or is it? The former president was talking about the changing dynamics of the American dream and how it's shifting with time, saying, "There was not that window into the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Kids weren't monitoring every day what Kim Kardashian was wearing or where Kanye West was going on vacation, and thinking that somehow was the mark of success." And ouch, here it's pretty obvious he was throwing some major shade their way. And he doesn't seem to like how they are now the standard for what success is. And apparently Kanye West did not like those comments and actually fired back at the president. But also, since Obama was a former president, I trust his opinion and judgment way more than Kanye's. And at number 6, Kris Humphries. Kris Humphries was someone who probably challenged the Kardashian family the most and exposed secrets about them I'm sure they did not want out. Kim and Kris got married in one of the most lavish televised ceremonies ever, but famously, after only 72 days, the couple split because Kim was having second thoughts. But based off how much content their reality shows got because of that relationship, then the breakup, Kris called Kim out for fraud, arguing that the whole relationship was just a publicity stunt. And their divorce was so messy it lasted 2 whole years before it was finalized. But during the massive trial, Kris exposed that a lot of the Kardashian show was scripted, and that the show purposefully made him look bad. Like when him and Scott threw a party in one episode while the girls were out of town, and they looked really horrible for going behind their backs when they told them not to have the party. The whole thing was actually just a huge sham, with Kim and Kourtney knowing about the party and acting like they didn't know for TV, in turn making Kris look like a terrible husband when it literally wasn't like that at all. Halfway at number 5, Rebel Wilson. Rebel Wilson revealed on a radio show that she was presented an opportunity to present an award with Kendall and Kylie Jenner, but Wilson ended up turning it down, with her saying in the interview, "I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the recent VMAs and said no. It's not that you hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I've worked really hard to get where I've gotten to." And even though a lot of people who dislike the Kardashians share the same sentiments, Oprah Winfrey actually came to their defense against Wilson, if you can believe it, with Oprah saying that she couldn't believe how hard the family works, referencing when she filmed the family for Oprah's show, with crews taping the family for 7 hours straight, and then they filmed more of their reality show after. So, as we all know, the Kardashian family really works very hard, even though it doesn't seem like they do too much. And at number 4, Bette Midler. After Kim uploaded her incredibly famous nude selfie where she covered her, nether regions with just like black bars, the internet went ablaze talking about it. One of the people that didn't hold their tongue was Bette Midler, who tweeted out, "Kim Kardashian tweeted a nude selfie today. If Kim wants us to see a part of her we've never seen, she's gonna have to swallow the camera." Which, come on, you have to admit, it's pretty hilarious. Like, even if you like the Kardashians, it's a good tweet. As a clapback, Kim tweeted out that it was past Bette's bedtime and that she was a fake friend. And Bette responded back, "Looks like anyone can take a selfie, but not everyone can take a joke." And then she lightened the tension by posting her own nude. When talking about the feud later, Bette had no hard feelings and said she takes Twitter pretty lightly and hoping that Kim did the same. Hopefully Kim wasn't actually too peeved about that. I mean, come on, it was clearly a joke. I don't know. And at number 3, Wendy Williams. If you watch Wendy's show, which I definitely do on occasion, she spills the tea like nobody else, then you know she does not like the Kardashians and is always very blunt when talking about them. But Wendy got the spot of a Kardashian hater when she made some shady comments about Kim after her robbery incident. And when talking about the incident in Paris, Wendy said, "I would hope that she's not making any part of this up for dramatic effect. Because this family, they're kind of soulless. You can't believe everything that you hear." But this was very, very upsetting. And although I do not agree with Wendy at all that the Paris incident was a publicity stunt, a lot of people did feel that the incident could have been exaggerated by the family for views, with people citing numerous times in the past that this has happened with the family. And again, I do not agree, but she just brought it up as kind of a possibility, and obviously, she loves to shade them whenever she can. And at number 2, Blac Chyna. Blac Chyna is another Kardashian ex who was ousted from the family after her and Rob's relationship ended. And you know that whatever went down was bad, because the family is still nice to Tristan and not Chyna, even though Tristan is arguably way worse and embarrassed them so much more. The first of the feud was surrounding the fact that Kylie started dating Tyga, who was Chyna's ex. Then Chyna started dating Rob. and then the two got engaged and then pregnant very quickly. But after they had Dream, the whole thing fell apart and China and the Kardashians were facing off on social media. China even filed a lawsuit against the family, claiming that they stopped her show Rob & China from getting a second season. A judge dismissed that case, but China still shades the Kardashians whenever she can. And at number 1, Anna Wintour. This last one is something that I had no idea existed, but it's probably the shadiest one of all. So Vogue is one of the most prestigious magazines to be on the cover of, and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West were put on the cover in a very controversial move by the magazine's editor, Anna Wintour. When talking about the criticism, she noted that it would be a misstep to ignore the couple's influence, and she made the choice to lead and deal with the backlash rather than follow. And all of that praise to the couple is, all well and good, until she gives them quite a backhanded compliment, saying, "I think if we just remain deeply tasteful and just put deeply tasteful people on the cover, it would be a rather boring magazine. Nobody would talk about us." And although I totally get what she's trying to say, calling the couple, deeply untasteful is definitely more than a little shady. But I mean, if anyone can shade anyone, it's Anna Wintour. She can shade whoever she wants. In at number 10, Nick Lachey. Nick Lachey also exposed Kim for being a little too friendly with the paparazzi in order to get some publicity from him. The singer claims that Kim might have only been dating him for publicity. Apparently the pair only dated for about a week, and some shady stuff went down. One time he said, let's just say this, "We went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside." And I think from that story, it's very clear that Kim was tipping off the paparazzi, so there would be photos of them together. And if you didn't already know, unless someone is incredibly famous, if they're a paparazzi when they are out, they definitely tipped off that paparazzi. And at number 9, Jon Hamm. The Mad Men star definitely has some choice words for the Kardashians, and based off what he said, it's clear he does not like the family and doesn't approve of how they rose to fame. With him telling LUK, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupidity is certainly celebrated. Being an idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you're rewarded significantly. It's celebrated. It doesn't make sense to me. So clearly he doesn't like the reality TV stars whatsoever and doesn't like how our society praises socialites like Paris Hilton and the Kardashians. And I kinda get where he's going. He has some valid points. And at number 8, Kristin Cavallari. Kristin Cavallari has a very interesting relationship with the Kar Jenner clan. It all started when Kristin dated Brody Jenner, and through that relationship she also became friends with the Kardashians. But after Brody and Kristin broke up, there was tension between Kristin and Kourtney Kardashian. After Kourtney caught Scott out with Kristin while they were in an off period. And after that, Kristin called out the family for using that information as a publicity stunt to get viewers to their show. And allegedly, after rumors broke that Kristin and Scott were having an affair, the Kardashians refused to deny it and instead waited to address it on their show, leaving Kristin looking like, the bad, terrible other woman when it just wasn't even true. More than a little shady if you ask me.
Number 7, Michael Bublé. When Michael Bublé was performing his iHeartRadio live concert in 2011, he made his feelings about Kim Kardashian crystal clear when he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very special guest. Please welcome Kim Kardashian." But after a short pause, Bublé then shot back, "Nah, I'm just effing with you. That B ain't coming on my stage," before transitioning into his cover of Nina Simone's classic Feeling Good, which he said was dedicated to Chris Humphries. Later he would explain that he hated Kim because she hurt Chris and he wished that she hurt him instead. Michael's diss wouldn't be the only backlash Kim would experience after she filed divorce from Chris after only being married to him for 72 days. The reality TV star even had to enlist in a celebrity lawyer, Marty Singer, to fight back against Jonathan Jackson, who claims that she staged her wedding among other things. Number 6, Daniel Craig. It's no lie that the Kardashian family has made millions from living their lives in the public eye thanks to their reality TV show. But one person who is less than impressed by the Kardashian family is Daniel Craig, who launched an astonishing, foul-mouthed rant about the family in an interview with GQ magazine back in 2011. The James Bond star even labeled the clan as effing idiots and criticized those who sell themselves and then make demands about their private life, when he said, "I think there's a lot to be said for keeping your own counsel. It's not about being afraid to go public about your emotions or about who you are and what you stand for, but to sell it off, it's gone. You can't buy it back. You can't buy back your privacy. Oh, I want to be alone? F you. We've been in your living room. We were at your birth. You filmed it for us and showed us the placenta, and now you want some privacy. Referring to the Kardashians, Daniel would then also note that while the clan is worth millions, he doesn't think they were badly off to start in the beginning because of their looks. And then he would go on to say, you see that? And you think, what? You mean all I have to do is behave like an effing idiot on television and then you'll pay me millions? I'm not judging it. Well, I am obviously. So the moral of the story is, if you want to be famous one day, maybe take some notes. Number 5, we have Rebel Wilson. In 2015, Rebel Wilson would slam the Kardashian family's meteoric rise to fame in a candid live interview. In the interview, the Pitch Perfect actress said she was frustrated that she had to work so much harder to get to where she is and where she wanted to be, by saying, it's not that I hate any of them individually, but it's just that everything they stand for is against everything I stand for, and they're not famous for talent. I worked really hard to get to where I've gotten to. Rebel didn't even want to be on the stage with the family's 2 youngest siblings at the 2015 MTV Music Video Awards when she said, I got asked to present with Kendall and Kylie at the latest VMAs, but I said no, I'd rather do it myself. She then went on to compare Kim Kardashian to her own acting experience by saying, they aren't really about talent. I mean, how Kim got famous was from an X tape, and I went to acting school and worked really hard. Number 4, Reese Witherspoon. In 2011, America's sweetheart Reese Witherspoon was really ready to talk some trash when she went on a rant against certain breed of celebrities when she was at the MTV Movie Awards. When accepting a Generation Award from Robert Pattinson, the actress railed at the celebrities in vain of the Kardashians and Paris Hilton and other celebrities when she said, I get it girls, that it's cool to be a bad girl, but it's possible to make it in Hollywood without doing reality shows. While a dig was definitely made towards Kim Kardashian and Paris Hilton specifically, Reese would also go on to say, when I came up in business, if you made an X tape, you were embarrassed and you hid it under your bed. Reese would then go on to say another Hollywood trend she is tired of seeing is the leaking of celebrity nudes photos, and she would even caution those who end up taking them to cover their face so they didn't become the next Kim Kardashian. Number 3, Jon Hamm. Jon Hamm and Kim Kardashian's feud all began when Jon sat down for an interview and said, whether it's Paris Hilton or Kim Kardashian or whoever, stupid is certainly celebrated. Being an exploitive idiot is a valuable commodity in this culture because you rewarded it significantly. The quote found its way back to the Kardashians, who responded by saying she respected Hamm and his right to have an opinion, but we're all working really hard and we all have to respect one another. Calling someone out who ruins their own business is part of a successful TV show. Producers, writes, designs, and creates stupid is in my opinion. Jon would then come out to clarify that he didn't mean to personally offend Kim Kardashian, he's just not a really big fan of the culture she represents. When he said, it's surprising to me that it has become remotely a story. I don't know Miss Kardashian, I know her public persona. What I said was meant to be more of a persuasiveness of something in our culture, not personal, but she took offense to it, and that's her right. My quote was simply about the version of television and the version of American culture being celebrated, and it's not something that I particularly enjoy. Number 2, Joel McHale. Back in 2018, Joel McHale would land a new weekly show on Netflix 3 years after E! Pulled the plug on his pop culture show The Soup. After he made a slew of jokes, Kris Jenner wasn't happy about it. Joel, who dished the dirt on E! From 2004 to 2015, told Variety that his streaming series will in some way be similar with its use of clips from television shows among the pity commentary. Reflecting on his years on The Soup, he would also speak about how one of the network's own shows, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, eventually became a no-go area for him, and he would say when Kris Jenner would complain about our jokes, and then later the president of E! Networks would simply ask McHale to lay off the Jenner and Kardashian family for a week, and then the administration and the president told him to his face, don't make fun of the Kardashian family, we don't want you to make fun of the Kardashians. Joel then went on to say that the network really wasn't happy when The Soup started to make fun of Kim, as they always joked about how Kim was only famous for having a big peach and the infamous tape, but I mean, they aren't really wrong. Number 1, Jeremy Renner. Back in 2012, Jeremy Renner would join the growing list of celebrities who have expressed an extreme distaste for the Kardashians. In a recent interview with the UK paper The Guardian, the actor would even claim that he never wanted to be famous, and while discussing discussing the pitfalls of fame, he would unleash his disdain for the reality TV family. When the Kardashians' name was mentioned in the interview, Renner would reportedly roll his eyes and then call them ridiculous people with zero talent, who spend their lives making sure everyone knows their names. He would then add, they are stupid, stupid people. Which makes it definitely safe to say you'll never catch Jeremy spending his weekend binging on episodes of this famous reality TV family show. However, whether you like them or hate them, it seems like if you want to get your foot into Hollywood, you have to get on this family's good side, so you might just want to be careful when it comes to making comments about them, because you never know who might be watching. At number 10, we have Larsa Pippen. Everyone knows Larsa and Kim Kardashian as her ex-best friend, but between the constant drama, the star caused a rift between the Kardashian family by speaking on private family matters. When Larsa spilled the tea about dating Tristan Thompson, the Kardashian family was ultimately not happy, mainly because it made their sister Khloe look like she wasn't as innocent as she seemed. In an interview with Hollywood Raw, Larsa said she was seeing Tristan and had come to LA, where she brought him to a party Kim was hosting. While at the party, Larsa introduced him to all the Kardashian Jenner sisters, and then 10 days later, he started seeing Khloe. Unfortunately for Larsa, the Kardashian family didn't believe her claims about Tristan and have since cut her out of their lives for toxic energy and behavior. The Kardashians have since claimed Larsa lied about dating Tristan, but with all that was revealed in her interview, I think it's safe to say she may have been telling the truth. Number 9, Chloe Grace Moretz. Back in 2016, when Kim was having her own celebrity feud with Taylor Swift, Kim posted her supposed proof that the singer was lying about knowing Kanye's reference to her in his song. As fans went crazy, Chloe was left feeling annoyed. She then took to Twitter to say, "Everyone in this industry needs to get their heads out of a hole and look around to realize what's actually happening in the real world." Khloe Kardashian then went to post a series of pictures of Khloe and a back shot with an unknown woman in a similar bikini to Khloe, with the caption, "Is this the hole you were referring to?" Moretz then hit back at the stars saying, "The first photo was me and neighbors too, and the second is a girl who was wrongfully photographed." Not backing down, Khloe then went to defend herself against those who criticized her for attacking the 19-year-old actress by saying, "I'm the last person to be a bully, but I have an animal instinct to protect and defend my family." As much as I support the notion to protect your family, bullying and making another woman feel bad about herself is never the answer. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Number 8. Taylor Swift. Now, Taylor Swift has had this ongoing feud with the Kardashian family, and Khloe has never been scared to state her opinions on the matter, and when new drama arises, you can definitely see Khloe in the center of it. The feud has been going on since 2016 over Kanye West's track, Famous. Taylor claimed she was blindsided by the lyrics, however, Kim came forward with a voice-recorded messages which stated otherwise. Later, Taylor would say that Kim edited and manipulated snippets of the phone calls. When Kim came to say Taylor was lying, it definitely was a shock when Khloe chimed in with her own opinion, proving everything Taylor has been warning us about the sisters for years. Taylor broke the silence by responding to the sisters' words instead of answering those who are asking how I feel about the video footage that leaked, proving I was telling the truth the whole time. The star then went on to say the call was illegally recorded and someone edited and manipulated the recording to frame the star. With Khloe always quickly to chime in on new feuds, the Taylor Swift feud indicates that Khloe just wants to be the center of attention and will insert herself in any family feud that comes to light.
At number 7, Victoria. Victoria Valero has been Kylie Jenner's close personal assistant since 2015, but the pair go back to 2014 when Valero was interning as a personal assistant for Kris Jenner. After gaining the family's trust, she was hired as Kylie's house manager and soon after became her personal assistant. Victoria and Jenner became very close over the years, and she was even present at the secret birth of Kylie's daughter Stormi. You would think with being so close to the family, it would be through thick and thin, right? Well, all good things must come to an end, as Victoria quit in 2019. Many fans allege that she had quit to focus on becoming an Instagram influencer, but that was far from her real reason for leaving. Being around that family means seeing a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff. Victoria was basically in charge of scheduling Kylie's life. Booking appointments, meetings, massages, all of this is stressful enough, basically being a 24/7 gig, but the job was also very degrading, with Kylie even having Victoria pull out a stool and set it up outside so that Kylie could get out of her car smoother. I think anyone in their right mind would want to get out of that job as soon as possible. At number 6, GoFundMe. In March 2021, Kylie shared an Instagram post asking for prayers for one of her makeup artists, Samuel Rhoda, with the post redirecting fans to a GoFundMe page where they were asked to donate money to cover his medical bills for an upcoming surgery. That's right, the woman who got a feature on Forbes' top 60 self-made women list was asking her fans to donate some of their money. Why would Kylie herself not just use some of her billions of dollars to cover the bills? Well, she went online to claim that her and Sam didn't know each other on a personal level. She had worked with him a few years prior and thought he was a sweetheart. Supposedly, her current makeup artist had shared a post about Samuel's accident, which included a link to a GoFundMe campaign created by his family. She went on to let fans know that she herself donated $5,000. Okay, sure, that's a ton of money to most of us, but for Jenner, that's like $5. Something tells me the surgery would be a lot more than that. This is just another instance proving Kylie is the worst, because I know she would drop more than that on a purse. At number 5, the lawsuit. In March of 2021, a lawsuit was arranged by several of Kim's former employees. The plaintiffs claimed that Kardashian failed to pay them overtime, cover expenses, and provide legally mandated breaks. The employees also never received actual pay stubs or any proof of payment whatsoever. They were also made to purchase everything out of pocket, and one plaintiff was even fired on the spot for simply addressing his concerns to Kim. Then, when the rest were eventually let go, they received no type of severance package or pay of any kind. It was also uncovered that Kim would keep 10% of all their earnings for tax purposes, but failed to report their employment to tax authorities. Kim argued that she couldn't be held responsible because most of her employees were apparently hired and paid through third-party companies, meaning Kim herself was technically not their direct employer and therefore cannot be liable. Kim maintains that she paid people on time and that they were suing the wrong person, but if that were the case, Kardashian would have used her high status and influence long ago to make things work for her staff, and maybe she wouldn't have gotten sued by them. At number 4, Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and were officially married in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye's mental health was slowly slipping. He began posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets, as well as constantly sharing his political views and publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting SNL in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson while still married to Kanye. We'll cover their side in another entry. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show and seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently, only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. Following their divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly try to help Ye understand why his views and words were wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan and for Kanye. At number 3, they don't pay. While the Kardashians have had their problems with staff individually, there seems to be one specifically toxic trait the family shares as a unit. They don't pay people. Former employees have come forward over the years calling out the family for not paying them fair wages and no overtime hours. The Kardashians don't cover expenses including gas, food, rent. Everything is out of the employee's pocket with zero money coming back. To make matters worse, the Kardashians would not pay them on set paydays, meaning you just got paid when you got paid and had to deal with it. You would think with the family being one of the richest in the world that they would at least pay the people that help run their lives. While they have a massive staff of people cooking their food, folding their clothes, and raising their children, they barely even acknowledge their existence. Just imagine what would happen if the staff decided to walk out. The family would crumble in less than a day. At number 2, paid in exposure. When Andre Turbia, famous YouTube animator and content creator, was asked to work with Kylie Jenner, he thought that his life would change forever. He was under the impression that the collaboration would grant him a huge amount of money, possibly a guest spot on a reality show, and maybe some shoutouts online via Instagram and Twitter. However, when Andre brought up the topic of his compensation to Jenner, she responded with, "The company doesn't really have a budget right now, so we're going to have to pay you in exposure." Like, hey, that's cool, but you can't cook exposure in a frying pan and eat it for dinner, nor is it a currency accepted at most gas stations or banks. And by exposure, she meant Andre's name being in a small print underneath her content. Andre did what anyone in their right mind would do in that situation and refused to work with her, telling her to take that exposure and shove it where the sun don't shine. And at number 1, lied about their wealth. Oh, not enough proof for ya? Well, here you go. As mentioned earlier in this list, Kylie Jenner made the cover of Forbes magazine in 2019 as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. Well, it turns out that wasn't really the case. Jenner allegedly sold half of her company, Kylie Cosmetics, to beauty giant Coty in a deal worth $1.2 billion. This was huge and considered one of the greatest celebrity cash outs of all time. But the first rule of being a famous person is, if you can help it, try not to lie. Especially to Forbes magazine, who did some digging and revealed that Jenner was actually inflating the size and profit margins of her business. It turns out the cosmetic brand was on a much smaller scale than originally thought. As it was uncovered, Jenner only actually made around $314 million after taxes for the company. Several financial advisors backed up the story, claiming that they were berated into complying with the lie and made to help maintain the numbers for the public. Mother of the family, Kris, even played a key role in gathering false business documents to send to Forbes, making her company appear to be in the billions. Remember, if you can't figure something out, just ask mom.
Number 10. Kim and Drake. Drake is a famous Canadian rap artist, and I've heard he's got a pretty stellar candy room in his mansion. Sounds pretty fun. Recently, Drake dropped a song called Search and Rescue, now available on Spotify. Halfway through the track, the music cuts out and a voice clip of Kim Kardashian and her mother Kris from an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians begins to play. The intention was to throw shade at Kanye West, whom Drake has had problems with in the past, but it only added fuel to the rumor fire surrounding his alleged affair with Kim during her marriage to Kanye. In the clip, Kim says, "I don't come this far just to not be happy. Remember that." On top of this, many fans have brought up Drake's lyrics from his song In My Feelings, claiming that Kiki is actually Kim herself. Hardcore internet sleuths sifted through his lyrics and discovered that if you take the directions that he's rapping about in the song and start at Drake's house in LA, it actually takes you directly to Kim's front gate. Coincidence? I think not. Number 9. Kendall and Bad Bunny. Not long ago, Kendall Jenner was dating a basketball player from the Phoenix Suns named Devin Booker. Devin and Kendall were together for over 2 years, first getting together in 2020. However, in 2022, the couple had a quiet breakup that left fans wondering what really happened to end what seemed to be such a strong relationship. Well, it turns out there may have been another man. Or a bunny, if you will. I'm just gonna show myself out. Jeez. Bad Bunny is a popular rapper, singer, songwriter, and now actor, after briefly starring in last year's action comedy Bullet Train as the Wolf. In March of this year, Bunny seemingly dissed Kendall's ex, Booker, in his track Coco Chanel. He rapped, "The sun in Puerto Rico is hotter than in Phoenix." And a few weeks following the song's release, Kendall introduced Bunny to her horse, Arizona, in California. Oh, that's so cute, you named it Arizona. The couple are officially together. Let's see how long this one lasts. Number 8. Devin Booker and Kendall Jenner. Jenner and Booker were first spotted together on a double date with other people. At the time, Booker was dating Kylie's best friend Jordyn Woods, and Jenner was dating Ben Simmons. In February of 2019, it was revealed that Booker and Woods' relationship had fizzled out. But not long after the announcement, Woods was caught kissing Khloe Kardashian's boo, Tristan Thompson. Yeah, this is just gonna be very messy. Kardashian and Thompson split, and with that, Kylie's friendship with Woods was gone. But what that meant was that Kendall and Devin were free to do whatever they wanted. It was confirmed they were seeing each other after multiple sources caught them road tripping together over the summer of 2020. They were together for roughly 2 years before calling it quits in 2022, taking a break to figure out if their future together was actually meant to be. They got back together, but ultimately ended things on good terms in November of that same year.
At number 7, Nanny Knows. The Kardashians have been exposed for a lot over the years by countless people. Honestly, this could be its own video in and of itself, if we haven't already done that. Anyways, one of the people that joined the Exposing the Kardashians club was the family's former nanny. The nanny, a woman named Pam Behan, exposed Kris for her parenting. Although Kris looks like a cool, fun mom, almost acting like one of the Kardashian sisters rather than a parent, according to the nanny, that is all a charade and couldn't be farther from the truth. Turns out that Kris was actually a really mean mom. She said that all of the girls were really shallow and even exposed Kris for being mean to Khloe and criticizing her for being overweight. On top of that, according to the nanny, Kris was also a stickler for healthy foods, saying that she was obsessed with keeping produce in the house, and she even exposed her for having a meltdown when she forgot to pick up broccoli. Now that is a very different side of Kris Jenner that we never get to see. At number 6, private investigator. Back to past Kardashian relationships. Remember when Khloe Kardashian and Lamar Odom were a thing? Yeah, super messy, as most Kardashian marriages tend to be, but this one was ultra messy because it turns out that at one point, Khloe hired a private investigator to follow Lamar around to watch if he was cheating on Khloe. This was something that we didn't get to see on the family's reality show, but apparently the private investigator was hired to catch Lamar with at least 5 different mistresses. But why put all this effort into a supposed cheater? Well, it turns out that there was a specific clause in their prenuptial agreement that if one of them was caught cheating, then the divorce settlement payout would be larger to the other party. This means that with the help of her private investigator, Khloe would be able to get a higher settlement in the divorce. The things people do for money. At number 5, who started the show? The family's reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, has been on air for so long that it almost feels like it has been on TV forever. Obviously, it wasn't actually on TV since like the beginning of time, but it was certainly a staple in a lot of people's homes. This show really boosted the careers of all of the Kardashians, but who had the original idea for the show? Well, that's up for debate. According to Kylie Jenner, she wrote in her book that she was the one who came up with the initial idea for the reality show, not Kris, as many were led to believe. In the memoir, Kylie wrote that she told Kris about her idea for the show, saying, quote, "The house is awash in puberty and adolescence and young adulthood, and 2 parents with very different styles. It seems to me something is there for television." End quote. She then goes on to say that Kris then claimed to have come up with the idea for the show and then took it upon herself to pitch the show to Ryan Seacrest, and the rest is history. Talk about starting things off on a sour note. At number 4, always perfect. Kylie and Kendall Jenner are the babies of the Kar Jenner clan, and they were pretty young when they started to rise to fame. Because the cameras were always on them, and because they were starting to gain notoriety on their own, their mom Kris decided that they needed to look perfect at all times to make themselves and the family look better in the eyes of the media. In an interview with Cosmopolitan in 2017, Kylie opened up about this dynamic in her young life and revealed that Kris Jenner had nail techs come to the house every week to do the girls' nails to make sure that they looked as perfect as possible. Kylie said that because this was ingrained in her from such a young age, that this just became a habit of hers even going into her adult life, which is why we see Kylie flexing her new nails on the gram. In the interview, she went into further detail about having to look put together all the time, where she said, quote, "My mom would make us do it. She would have a nail artist come to the house once a week. She would make us get our nails done. She was like, you are never going to look like you're not put together, so we're always getting them done." End quote. At number 3, fake homes. You know how on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, when they start a new scene, a new place, they show the front of the person's house? Well, it turns out that's kind of a lie. The houses that they show in the reality show aren't actually the Kardashians' real houses. In the beginning, they used to show the front of the Kardashians' houses, but soon it became a safety issue as it made it easy for people to find them. Kim opened up about why they decided to use fake houses instead of their real exteriors, saying, quote, "My old home in Beverly Hills was really my home, and I would get people showing up at all hours ringing my gate, and I had to call the police on several occasions. People hopping the gate and scaring me. It was so unsafe. The Hollywood Star Tours would stop by too because they recognized my home from our show. After that, we realized how unsafe it was to show the exterior of our homes, so now we use different homes for the outside for security purposes." Though they do use different homes as the exterior shots, Kim did confirm that they do actually film inside of their real houses. At number 2, original goal. Keeping Up with the Kardashians became a mega hit where people just tuned in to watch the drama unfold with the Kar Jenners. I would be lying if I said that this show wasn't secretly my guilty pleasure. It's just so chaotic and I love it. But it turns out that the original purpose for the show wasn't just to simply keep up with the Kardashians. They had ulterior motives. According to Mama Kris Jenner, the original purpose for the show was to bring attention to the Kardashians' clothing stores Dash and Smoosh. Their store Dash became the focal point for their reality show spin-offs like Kourtney and Khloe Take Miami and Dash Dolls. During an interview with Variety in 2015, Kim shared how they wanted to use the show to grow their business, saying, quote, "When the opportunity for our TV show came about, I wanted to do it to bring attention to our stores. I was thinking this might not last very long, but will grow a great business and expand online. I thought it would be great press. I didn't think it would turn into what it turned into." End quote. Their stores ended up closing in 2018, but at that point they had so many other things going on and the show wasn't even boosting their business anymore, so really, who cares? And finally, at number 1, new phones. Even a pandemic can't stop the Kardashians from creating content. The 19th season of the reality show was filmed over the course of the lockdown, and it was all done from the inside of the Kardashians' mansions. How they managed to pull all of this off is a little crazy though. Because camera crews weren't considered to be essential workers during California's stay-at-home orders, the Kardashians had to get creative, and so they created a system where every week someone would bring them a new iPhone to film on. They had proper sets built in Kim and Khloe's homes with lighting and the whole 9 yards for their confessionals, but yeah, I still can't get past the iPhone thing. Apparently, a showrunner wearing head-to-toe protective gear would come to the Kardashians' home on Monday morning to bring them a brand new iPhone to start the next cycle of filming. These Kardashians are so crazy. At number 10, bribes. At this point, we all know that the Kardashians have a my way or the highway kind of attitude. They will get what they want by any means necessary, and we've seen this a few times over the Kardashians' respective careers, but one of the lesser known times that this sort of attitude came out was when Kris Jenner was trying to save her short-lived talk show. Mama Jenner dreamed of being a talk show host, but those dreams were sort of crushed when her talk show premiered in the summer of 2013. She got a series of reviews, and when she read them, she came across one that she really didn't like. One reviewer named Linda Stassi from the New York Post wrote a column about the show and called Kris a quote, "a demented Norma Desmond," end quote. Well, because Kris didn't like what Linda had wrote about her, she decided to send the writer a bribe of a dozen Magnolia cupcakes and a $325 sterling silver pen from Tiffany's, along with a note saying to write a better review next time. In the end though, this bribe didn't actually work because her show was cancelled not long after. At number 9, sweatshops. The Kardashians have faced backlash and scandal many times in the past, so really they're nothing new, but one of their more extreme scandals came from when one of their many clothing brands got exposed. In 2011, a Kardashian clothing brand came under fire after it was revealed that the garments were being produced by Chinese workers being paid 8 cents a day. Can you imagine these millionaires paying workers 8 cents? Insane, right? A non-profit organization called China Labor Watch, a group that fights sweatshops, released this information during investigation into the Kardashian brand. Of course, Mama Jenner came in and stepped in, and she claimed that they didn't know anything about that, going on to say, quote, "the factories are very well policed and meet factory standards," end quote. No one is talking about the factory standards, Kris. We're talking about basically not paying people for making clothes that you're about to sell for $100 a piece. That's the tea. At number 8, Kardashian divorce. Remember when Kim K was married to Kris Humphries? Yeah, that was kind of a blip in the Kardashian timeline, but hey, it still happened. They were only married for 72 days, but it was still messy, and their subsequent divorce was just as messy. The cameras for their show Keeping Up with the Kardashians showed off much of their tumultuous marriage, but the cameras were ultimately cut when it came to their divorce, but it wasn't for lack of trying. Kim wanted to film her goodbye call with Kris over Skype, where she was going to say her final farewells and tell him that she really loved him. But Kris saw right through Kim's attempt to get content out of their divorce and flat out refused, saying that he refused to ever be on another episode ever again. Honestly, I can't blame him for making that decision.
Number 7, Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet. Timothée Chalamet is slowly building his acting repertoire in Hollywood, and so far it's going pretty well. He starred as the lead in Dune, and he was recently announced to be playing a young Willy Wonka in a TV series chronicling Wonka's rise to glory. It was also recently announced that he was seeing Kylie Jenner like every week. While the announcement of them being a couple is a little out of nowhere, the fact is that Kylie has been co-parenting her 2 kids with Travis Scott, and Travis did not appreciate the secrecy. He said that he felt blindsided by the announcement, but he respects her decision to move on romantically. This relationship isn't all that recent, however, it was reported that the two may have shared a private moment or two during her marriage to Scott. Neither party have confirmed nor denied the rumors, but just seeing these two in a picture together makes us think that there is no way this relationship is that fresh, right? Number 6, Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson was the youngest cast member on Saturday Night Live when he was hired at the age of 20. He was the youngest cast member of all time. In 2021, Kim Kardashian hosted an episode of the show and starred in a sketch with Pete, parodying A Whole New World from the Disney film Aladdin. The sketch was It was okay, but apparently sitting that close to each other all week really got them going. At the time, Kim was still involved with rapper Kanye West, who actually attended the live show, but apparently stormed out of the room following her scene with Pete. Apparently, Kanye had been present at rehearsals all week, and he remembers regularly seeing Pete and Kim smiling and laughing together while he was being ignored entirely. Kim and Kanye began their divorce process not long after that show, and simultaneously, Pete announced that him and Kim were official. They were only together for about a year, but it was enough time for Pete to get close to her family and even get a tattoo of her kid's name on his arm, which sounds hardcore, but he has like a million tattoos, so it's probably jammed between like a skull and an MGK portrait. Who knows? Number 5. Kourtney Kardashian and Travis Barker. Travis Barker is the drummer of the popular band Blink-182. Travis and Kourtney met after Barker had spent some time with the Kardashian crew at her mom Kris Jenner's house in California. Following the official news of their relationship, many fans were quick to comment on the short time between her relationship with Barker and that of her ex-boo, Luka Sabat. According to Kris herself, Travis and Kourtney began flirting while she was still seeing someone. Their connection was so strong from the beginning, but unfortunately that meant the end of one relationship but the start of a new one too. Kourtney appears to be very happy with the Blink-182 drummer, and Luka doesn't seem to have any issues with them being together, so I guess this is a cheating scandal with a happy ending for now. Number 4. Kim and Kanye. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West started dating in 2012 and they were officially married 2 years later in 2014. During their marriage, life was rocky to say the least. While Kim was fairly tame for the most part, as we all know, Kanye was slowly having a mental breakdown. He was posting hate speech and racially fueled tweets and constantly sharing his political views as well as publicly backing Donald Trump. Is it really any surprise that Kim found comfort in another man's arms? While hosting Saturday Night Live in 2021, Kim met Pete Davidson, previously mentioned, while still married to Kanye. Kanye discovered that Kim and Pete began dating following the live show, and it seemed to be the final breaking point. Apparently only a few months before the show, Ye and Kim were constantly arguing about everything. And following the divorce, Kim revealed that she would constantly be trying to help Kanye understand why his views and his words were just so wrong. She wanted him to get better, but instead he doubled down and filed for a divorce. Kim is now happily single and received joint custody of her 4 kids, so it's a win-win for the Kardashian clan, and for Kanye, well, Number 3. Tyga and Kylie Jenner. Michael Ray Stevenson, known professionally as Tyga, is an American rap artist with a long list of bops under his belt. In 2011, he was asked to perform at Kendall Jenner's Sweet 16, and her sister Kylie was smitten. The two would keep in contact over the years, but rumors of them being a couple were shot down constantly until 2012, when he broke off his relationship with fiancée Blac Chyna, also a rap artist. It appeared that the split was due to the revelation that Kylie and Tyga were in fact an item. Tyga looked to Twitter to defend his actions, telling people not to believe the rumors. He's been friends with the family forever, they're all just friends. A year later though, they posted a photo on Halloween of themselves wearing a couple's costume, Chucky and the bride of Chucky. A couple of years went by and the pair were constantly seen together on dates, posted several pictures together on Instagram, and Tyga even bought her a Ferrari on her 18th birthday. They eventually split, and Kylie has moved on a couple of times with her next partner, Party Next Door, who is a person. That is a terrible name, even posting a photo on Instagram comparing his watches to Tyga's and claiming that the more diamonds the better. Alright boys, let's not stand around all day comparing watch sizes. Number 2. Kim Kardashian and Ray J. In this case, Kim was the staff that had the affair. You see, herself and the rap artist shared a 3-year relationship, but they met before Kim was famous while she was working as a stylist for his sister Brandy. At the time they met, Kim was still married to Damon Thomas, but apparently wasn't too happy with the relationship. She took part in an affair with Ray J and called it off with Thomas. During their time together, a certain tape was released online without Kim's permission, and the content contained explicit material of herself and Ray J doing the nasty. She sued the company that released it for $5 million to retrieve the rights and own the film. Following the release of the tape, their relationship quickly crumbled, and it was later revealed that both parties were cheating the entire time. And despite them having the knowledge of that, they just, didn't care. They just kept doing it. Number 1. Kris Jenner and Robert Kardashian. Mama Kris Jenner met Robert Kardashian at a horse race in California in 1973, and immediately sparks flew. At that time, Kris was in a committed relationship relationship with Cesar Sonato, a pro golfer. He was often gone so long that there were gaps in their relationship, and Robert filled that gap. Kris began an affair with Robert that lasted for quite some time until one day Cesar returned home early and walked in on the couple doing the no pants dance. Needless to say, Cesar broke it off with Kris right away, but Robert also broke things off with Kris, claiming that she wasn't mature enough for a serious relationship. Yeah, no duh, dude. Robert was basically a mistress. He wasn't much more mature himself. He began dating Elvis Presley's daughter, but that relationship failed too, and Robert ended up returning to Kris's arms. They were married for a little over a decade when Kris proved that she had not matured at all. She took part in another affair, and this time it was with soccer player Todd Waterman. Robert hired private investigators after becoming suspicious of Kris, and he was proven right. So if there's anything to take away from this video, is if you think your partner is cheating, you're probably right. People are horrible now.
At number 10, Kim's nannies. Kim Kardashian is arguably the most famous of the Kardashian sisters and also seems to be the busiest. For example, Kim has 4 kids, a skincare line, her Skims brand, she's attending law school, co-founded an equity team, and recently even hopped on the podcast train. And that's all on top of filming their new reality show on Hulu. You may be asking yourself, how does one woman do all that by herself? She pays people to do it for her, duh. Kardashian has multiple assistants and nannies to help her stay above the overwhelming workload, but has been known to treat them as lesser than her. For instance, on several occasions, Kim and her daughter North would go to lunch accompanied by their nanny, but Kim made her not only sit at a separate table away from them at the restaurant, known to make her nannies walk at least 10 feet away from her at all times. If they walk near her or attempt to walk side by side, apparently she blows up on them behind closed doors. Needless to say, she has had many nannies over the years and has probably made them all cry at least once. At number 9, Kourtney in general. While Kim may not be the best boss in the world, it's Kourtney who is known as the absolute worst boss of all time. According to former nannies, Kourtney was by far the worst Kardashian to work for. Not only is she a neat freak, needing every single thing to be exactly where it should be, she's also known for being surprisingly cheap, even once calling a different grocery store while she was shopping to compare the price of a chicken breast, because if anyone needs that extra 99 cents, it's Kourtney. But this isn't the worst thing she's done. One time, Kourtney's daughter had bitten a nanny so hard that she had to quit, but instead of letting it go and taking responsibility for not teaching her daughter how to treat people, she berated the nanny, telling her she should have said something to her daughter in the moment. Because it makes sense to blame the woman you're paying to raise your kid instead of the kid herself to prevent future incidents. At number 8, toxic chemicals. Kylie Jenner is the youngest of the Kardashian clan and is extremely successful for her age. In 2019, she made the cover of Forbes magazine as the youngest self-made billionaire, following the successful partnership between her cosmetic brand and Ulta Beauty. I'm not sure Forbes knows what self-made means, but this collaboration would allow Jenner's brand, previously only available online and at pop-up stores, to be placed on shelves in Ulta's 1,000 plus stores. This is unfortunate considering the true nature of just where those products come from. Many employees at the factory that mixed and packaged her makeup and beauty products have been reported that they were never given proper safety equipment that one would require to do that job. They were only given hairnets, lab coats, and safety goggles, leaving their hands and face completely exposed. Workers would regularly report migraines and mild chemical burns on their hands. I know they say beauty is pain, but I don't think this is what they meant.
Number 7, fitness. For a period of time in like the mid-2010s, Khloe Kardashian was pretty heavily focused on her fitness and getting into shape. Hell yeah, we love living healthily. But going along with that time in her life, Khloe would often post her workouts on social media, specifically Snapchat, for fans to follow along to and get themselves in shape alongside the celebrity. But as usually is the case, there was criticism, and some fans didn't think the videos were all that good. Well, Khloe understandably snapped back on Snapchat in 2017. With the pottiest of potty mouths, she addressed the seemingly impossible to please fans, saying, quote, "What bothers me so much about people is that I'm giving you guys my workouts on my snaps for free." She continued on, quote, "Why the F are you still complaining and saying, if I had a trainer, if I had a gym? Well, I don't have a gym. We're doing everything outside. I'm showing you guys how to do the workouts so you don't need a trainer. I'm using everything that I'm sure you guys have around the house or could improvise. What the F?" To be completely honest, I actually kind of agree with her. To complain that the videos she made out to share her experience and to try and help people who want to work out aren't good enough is kind of just a little rude. But then again, she also said if only complaining burned calories, you guys would be some healthy I can't say the whole of the sentence, but you get what I'm saying? Kinda waiting it out. Number 6, nobodies. Now, we all need to just sit back and take this one with a little itty tiny bitty grain of salt. When a magazine uses the words insider source, more than half the time, it's just someone off the internet or someone who is not actually an insider, and therefore their statements cannot be taken as fact. It's also worth noting that most people have found Kim to be the nicest person of the family when meeting fans. But, that being said, Kim Kardashian allegedly calls her fans stupid little nobodies. According to Star magazine, in 2012, an insider source, quote unquote, told the publication that, quote, Kris has text and voicemails from Kim where she calls her audience gullible, ouch, stupid imbeciles, ooh, boring little nobodies, yikes, and pathetic people with no lives of their own. Mic drop. Ouch, my feelings are hurt. I'm not a fan, but my feelings are still hurt. Don't be so rude. If you didn't actually say those things though, I'm sorry. And you're great, Kim. You're a great person. Number 5. Well then, I'm sure that most of us can agree that social media, but specifically Twitter, is a cesspool of meme lords, trolls, and keyboard warriors. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Twitter is like a breeding ground for hot takes, upsetting political stances, taking shots at famous people who would never normally give you the time of day, and, apparently, wannabe sports commentators. Those very same sport fans found a way to both comment on the state of the Cleveland Cavaliers and take shots at Khloe Kardashian in one swift move. One Twitter user tweeted, presumably as a joke, quote, Cavs haven't been playing too well since Khloe Kardashian. Just saying. That's because Khloe had been in a toxic as hell relationship with Tristan Thompson, who was playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers. For the record though, it was Tristan that was the toxic one, but in defense of her boo and the team he plays for, Khloe decided to clap back, and in her well-worded rebuttal, Khloe tweeted, quote, they are number 1 in their conference, but thanks for sucking my expletive. Hard enough to think I have that much power. Lick on my expletive while you're at it. I think we can all agree Khloe is truly a wizard of words. A true poet, I think. Very nice. Very good. Number 4, selfie. Last year, Hulu's Victoria's Secret documentary was available for the world to watch, but one clip from the documentary in particular caught some attention, and it was Kendall Jenner, back again, being a true Scorpio. It's a very short clip, but essentially the scene sees Kendall sitting on what looks like a makeup chair with a silk pink robe on, and a group of fans behind her. Basically, Kendall reaches back, takes a phone from one of the fans, snaps a couple selfies, and then hands it back. That's all that happened, but the whole thing was just so funny because, other than the brief moment where she smiled for the selfie, Kendall was not just straight-faced, but she had the stank face on. The one where you really just ain't there to even pretend to be nice to people. That kind of face. I feel like we all know what we're talking about. The fan looked like she was being silently told off when Kendall handed that phone back, and when Kendall turns back to camera with this annoyed eyebrow raise kind of thing, she looks like she wishes she would be anywhere else. Of course, the clip made its way to Twitter where people voiced their thoughts, like this one person who tweeted, quote, this clip of Kendall from the Hulu Victoria's Secret doc really says a lot about who she probably is. Someone on Reddit added, quote, that eyebrow raise and look of annoyance is irritating my soul. One more person did make a good point though when they wrote, it is actually disgusting. They forget that the fans are the reason they have what they have. And that is primarily kind of true, ain't it? Number 3, not in the mood. Now look, being a celebrity, having people wanting to take pictures with you all the time can be very exhausting, and celebrities have every right to say no when they don't want to take pictures with their fans. Point blank. Just as every person is allowed to say they don't want to pose for a picture. In an episode of Kourtney and Khloe Take the Hamptons, Kourtney Kardashian and Scott Disick are off taking a casual ride through his childhood neighborhood in an old convertible. As is bound to happen, a few girls end up noticing them at a stop sign and they ask if they can take a picture with the stars. Scott was all for it, saying sure, but Kourtney quickly follows up with no! And they continued on with their drive through memory lane. Now Scott apologized to the fans saying, alright, sorry, she said no, as they drove off, and Scott is like, that's not very nice, and she explains she simply didn't want to get out of the car and that she's, quote, not in the mood for a pic. Honestly, fair, she doesn't have to be, but I think she could have maybe been just a wee bit nicer about it. I don't know. What do you think? Number 2, best spot in the shade. Ever been asked to move so a celeb can take a photo shoot where you were comfortably chillin'? Well, a TikToker by the name of Lizudel called out Kim Kardashian for allegedly booting her out of this really chill area at Revolve Festival that was right by a lake with like really nice grass, some decent shade, and had like a fire pit. It was a good spot to get, but it was also a great spot for a photo shoot, and that's exactly what Kim wanted it for. The caption in the clip says, quote, "Right before Kim K kicked us out of this shady chill spot at Revolve," with the caption accompanying the clips reading, "Much love to your photo shoot," which is kind of like passive aggressive, so obviously the TikToker was a little peeved about it, but to be completely fair, reactions in the comments were pretty mixed. Some folks agreed and thought that it was messed up for Kim Kardashian to ask anyone to move, but others made a good point. Kim was promoting the brand Revolve that were running the festival in the first place, so these fans reasoned that it's fair that Kim gets to choose where she wants the photos taken. One comment read, quote, "Well duh, they invited influencers. Nobody knows who you are. They're gonna make you move." And that actually seemed to make a little bit of sense to a lot of people and to me as well, to be perfectly honest, but at the same time, when an area is available publicly for everyone, being expected to move so that Kim Kardashian can take a photo, it kinda sucks. Number 1, even at the airport. We gotta end the list with Kendall Jenner yet again. I am so sorry. There are just so many more instances of Kendall being less than great with people as there are for any of the other Kardashians. As part of an ongoing series, a former LAX employee has been taking to TikTok, ranking her experiences with some of the many celebrities she's crossed paths with during her years working at the airport. Kendall Jenner was one of those celebrities, and the TikTok did not paint her in a great picture. The former employee described her interactions with Kendall saying, quote, "Every time she flew out, she was not really friendly to anybody and just walked around like really arrogant." Then she slapped Kendall with a 2 out of 10 rating. 2 is pretty good, right? It's 1 more than 1 and 2 more than 0, so I'd say that's something. This TikTok pretty heavily reminds me of the first and second point on this list. I promise I don't have anything against Kendall, she just seems to be the one who consistently gets called out for being a little unsavory with employees and general people. While it's possible these are just instances of negative experiences staffers had with Kendall, the consistency of the bad experiences, coupled with all that we have seen from Kendall and everyone else, doesn't paint a great picture of her or anyone's character.